in any industry, once success finds its place, you'll garner the attention of bigger, more established companies.
Because they want to cut. Because if you don't know, I'm sorry to cut
No,
you
yeah,
off,
go. This is
but
important.
the big three kind of dominated, I think, 97% or something like that of the entire market was owned basically, at least in the United States, by three companies. It was Coors, Miller before they joined, and then Anheuser-Busch before they got bought by InBev. But anyway, now I think they're down to just 90%.
I want to say
not rounding into
17%
the 80s.
is craft now.
Okay. Either way, but yeah, they're making huge dents, so they're freaking out, which is leading what he's saying about people getting bought.
Yeah. Now, the first tactic that the big ones tend to make is to brew a beer and call it a craft beer. Just because it's an IPA or an ale doesn't make it a craft beer.
Yeah, some of the big ones that he's talking about, faux craft. Obviously, the biggest one was Blue Moon.
Yeah, absolutely.
Never has been an independent company, to my knowledge. They were founded by Coors to kind of take away some business. Shock Top, which I know you've been seeing commercials. They really revamped the Shock Top advertising around the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And they were trying to...
The big game.
Yeah, excuse me.
No copyright.
Yep. But they're really trying to take that and run with it again for some reason. I don't really understand why.
It's everywhere.
Yeah.
So it's easy to make people think that they're getting on. Because, let's face it, first there was wine and all the hipsters started doing that. And then there was craft beer and all the hipsters started jumping into that. And now it's distilling. Distilling is starting to explode. And all the hipsters are going to run to that. And these people are trying to capture a market, a percentage of that market.
Which is why you get angry when you hear about companies being bought out, because they're taking what the industry was founded on, which is being different, being independent, trying to make a name for yourself, and selling out really
Yeah,
quick.
and this is the point, that a lot of really good craft breweries are starting to sell percentages or their whole business to big conglomerate breweries.
Yeah. Biggest one probably would have been Goose Island, which are based out of Chicago. I think they were founded in like '85 or something like that. They're 100%. They were bought and finished a couple years ago by AB InBev. They owned 50% of the company for a long time and then ended up buying out the rest. But I don't buy beer from them anymore. The only one that I did buy and will continue to buy as long as the quality is still up there is Bourbon County, which is, again, a Holy Grail beer, which is starting to be easier to acquire now, which is awesome.
And that is one of the arguments. Better distribution through partnering.
More cash flow.
With these, advertising, everything. So you can kind of see their reasoning behind it, but again, I think it flies in the face of the movement itself.
Yeah. Which a lot of people were kind of getting mad at Dogfish Head for taking like a 17% or something like that buyout to get more money, which isn't the case. It's not a buyout.
No.
It's a loan. And as long as they pay that loan back, which I think they'll easily be able to do, then they retain 100% ownership in their business.
Yeah, so admittedly, I myself was put off by the notion that they were doing this until I read the detail. And I think it was actually Calgione who tweeted it and said, no, you guys are wrong, here's the real story. Actually, it might have been on Beer Advocate or something, one of those forums. And I took him at his word, and I will until I see otherwise.
But yeah, Goose Island, they make decent stuff. 312 was a huge...
That was one of my transition beers to something with a little more flavor.
Yeah, a lot of people buy that. A lot of people buy the Goose Island IPA, all that stuff, but they're 100% owned and operated by AB InBev, which sucks, but...
But like you said, as long as their quality stays on their bigger beers...
Yeah.
I'm still going to buy it.
Yeah, I'll buy that. I won't buy anything else from them.
Yeah, I don't buy 312 anymore. Number one, because it doesn't taste... Now that I've opened my eyes further, it's not really that great.
Another one, which was kind of surprising, was Lagunitas.
Yeah.
If you haven't heard the guy's story that founded that, it's a pretty crazy story. But anyway, I think, they just got too big. So they started out in California, West Coast, and then they got big enough, successful enough, they opened up a brewery in Chicago, which if you haven't looked at maybe some pictures about this huge warehouse with just tanks in there, it's kind of cool. It's really cool to see. But here recently, and really I don't understand why, because they're so tremendously successful in the country, and I don't believe they have any distribution problems, and I think this was basically just to go worldwide instead of just here. They sold 50% of their stake to Heineken, which sucked.
Yeah.
Because Heineken sucks. So I was really disappointed, and I no longer buy things from them either. Maybe I'm being kind of a prick about it, but
beer snob.
Yeah, I mean, and they do make really good West Coast IPA beers, but you're trying to throw independence in my face, and then you do something like that.
That same method, Ballast Point was the one that really shocked me. News of them joining the parent company of Corona
and like Modelo and
floored me, because Ballast Point Grapefruit Sculpin was one of those that we sought and we saw it. I mean, that was we ended up getting a Sculpin, but it wasn't grapefruit. And
we've done it. Did we do grapefruit too?
I don't think we did.
I can get it here now. So
and this is again one of the benefits of them partnering is their distribution increases anywhere that as long as the quantity's there, they can distribute anywhere that the parent company can distribute.
I won't tell you what I thought of Grapefruit Sculpin, just because I want to save it for the review.
But that was one that shocked me, and I was disappointed that they partnered like that. Specifically, was really intrigued why it would be the parent company of Corona. I find Corona, and we'll review this, but I'm sorry. It's terrible.
It's going to be on Trash Talk. There, you know what to expect.
Yeah, it will be a trash talk. The Sculpin wasn't bad. I don't think it lived up to the hype, the regular Sculpin. But I guess that leads us to Sam Adams.
Again.
Sam Adams is independent, right?
They are 100% independent, which they're not... Sam Adams is the brand. It's really the Boston Beer Company,
right?
Which they own Angry Orchard as well.
They own several breweries in New England, smaller ones that are just contract breweries and by name only, actually.
Yeah. But yeah, they were Greg Cook. I think that's how you pronounce it.
Yeah,
he's a pioneer. He really is. He went from East Coast Boston, Mass, to across the entire map.
Yeah.
Independently, as far as I know. So that's huge.
Yeah, I mean, that's a revolutionary brewery. Everyone knows Sam Adams.
Yeah, and if you read the little story, I think it's on the neck of the label on the bottle. It's for their Boston Lager. It's a Vienna style lager, which basically means it's darker and has a higher hop presence. Started out with that recipe from his dad that he found in the attic, and he made it on his kitchen stove.
Which is cool.
Yeah, because everyone that makes beer can relate to that kind of story.
The downside is, in our area, Sam Adams has like 50, 58 recipes, different beers that they make. Mm-hmm. And we can get maybe 3, 4.
They've started to really ship more out.
I have not seen them, and they make some beers that, to me, look very interesting. I'd love to try, and I've never seen them in this area.
One of the knocks that I'm going to give them real quick is they're starting to get on this whole nitro thing. I don't like nitro beers.
I did when I first moved into craft. I thought it was neat and unique and smooth. It's very smooth, but I'm not a nitro fan anymore.
Yeah, which the biggest nitro beer usually in the world is Guinness. Guinness is, it's okay.
It's a standard though. Yeah. It's like Budweiser in our previous trash talk. It's one of those beers that you should have just because it's the history of Guinness. I mean, any beer that's had physics studies done about the reverse cascading bubbles, that's a beer you got to drink.
Which if you've had a Guinness and you've never seen reverse cascading, you're not doing it right. You're doing something wrong.
Yeah, that is one thing I noticed in our local bars. I'll often, if there's nothing else and I've ordered a Guinness, even a pitcher, they don't know how to pour it. They'll give you. I actually had this where they've given me pitcher and a half because they couldn't figure out how to handle the head on it.
Which Guinness actually has multiple videos on YouTube even that the brewmaster will tell you how to do it.
Yeah, it's a shame that you can walk into an establishment that serves it and they don't know how to serve it properly.
Yeah, and there's a lot of bars now. I mean, it had nothing to do with breweries, just bars that have nitro lines and all that stuff. It really diminishes from the flavor and the aroma and all that stuff.
Yeah, I don't find it as pleasant.
Yeah.
I don't.
Mm-mm.
The roasty notes seem to really jump out in a nitro, but that's it. That's all I ever can really pull from a nitro. But back to Sam Adams, huge brewery. They're everywhere.
I think they have multiple locations too. I think there's obviously one in Boston, and then I think there's one in Ohio as well.
See, this I did not know.
Yeah, I don't remember where, but
which really disappoints me because we're not getting some of the beers that are more sought after from Sam Adams. My opinion of Sam Adams, I'm not a big fan, but I'm still waiting for those bigger beers that they do. I've seen the recipes. I've seen the labels and all that. I know they're there. I just haven't had a chance to try it.
They really try to latch on because before Sam Adams was, like he said, they painted a huge, spectrum for themselves. And now I think within the last 2 years, they started releasing their Rebel IPA to try to compete with breweries that are starting to specialize in IPAs. All the Northeast people, West Coast, and
it's not a bad beer.
Yeah, they started to do different. That's the most positive thing I've ever heard you say about it.
It is usually in the same lineup as the Big Threes beers, so it's the best I have to choose from in a lot of places.
Yeah,
it's not my favorite.
And then they started to do variations on it as well, like the Grapefruit Rebel, the Rebel Rouser, the Rebel Rider, all this stuff, and it's it's okay.
And this is what I like though from their size and their distribution, that they're still willing to try to do a few things. Now that being said, which I don't even like that phrase, but that being said, I would say Dogfish is one of those breweries that does what Sam Adams maybe wants to be doing, but they do it, and they do it top tier.
Except for I feel like Dogfish is more extreme.
Oh, absolutely.
Do,
but that's what I mean. Sam will dip his toe in an area and put it out, where Dogfish will push the full envelope and send it out.
Yeah, which one of the more recent ones we've done from them was their 20th anniversary. I think it was blonde with sour cherry juice and something. And I know a very large channel, beer channel, that I will not say because I don't wanna.
Yeah. Literally said
trash
to dump it.
Yeah, trash that beer, and I think we gave it relatively high scores.
We did. It was a fantastic beer for what it is.
Yeah.
It may not be to your palate, but that doesn't mean it's a bad beer.
Yeah, and I know there were a lot of channels that really kind of followed suit with that, but yeah, I can't agree.
That's why you come to 2DG. We'll give you the straight scoop. If it's a, it's rare that we get a beer that we would say dump it.
Yeah,
in fact, this guy won't dump it.
Yeah, obviously the crappy ones that we do on Trash Talk, but they're so inoffensive that, other than the Steel Reserve, that one sucked.
That one was bad. We may have to add a douchey for worst of the year. That one. That's so far. That's the one. So anyway, hey, this was just a talk between us and you, giving a little overview of the industry, of our thought process on what we think about some of these breweries, and where things are headed, where things are going right now. New England is just tearing it up. In the Midwest, it's Toppling Goliath is really a quick rising star. However,
the old guards, Three Floyds, Bells, Founders, Surly.
Some of those smaller upstart breweries you'll find have such a limited availability and a limited offering. You go to somebody big like Stone, they offer everything under the sun, and it's always excellent. You go to some of these smaller New England or Midwest breweries that, they may be known for a beer, but that doesn't mean all their beers are fantastic.
Yeah.
So, experiment, see what you can find, see what you like. Leave us a comment and tell us what you think of your favorite brewery. I know, there's so many we didn't touch. Kentucky's littered with small breweries that are just producing some good beer, some excellent beer.
You know, we didn't even talk about another big boy, which is New Belgium.
Oh my
Their
goodness,
fat
yeah.
tire was a kind of revolution, so to speak.
Unfortunately, I push Fat Tire over into some of those sellout areas where it's just so widely available, and it doesn't pack the punch that I want.
It used to, if you remember.
It did. It did. So maybe that's your transition beer. If you're a lager drinker, a big three, maybe you want to start transitioning. Maybe you need a Fat Tire in your life.
Yeah, leave us your story too. You know, what was your beer, your epiphany beer? You know, really, it was like, man, I'm tired of drinking crappy swill, and you got, you know, what was your first good beer?
Hey.
Got you on your path.
And here's a thought. Something I've noticed from switching. I could drink Budweiser all day long, wake up the next day with just a nasty headache, terrible gas. I'm going to be honest with you. We used to call it the Budweisers. But I've personally noticed with ales, I can drink like stupid,
Yeah.
like Dark Lord Day stupid, and the next day I might be a little tired,
And dehydrated.
but I don't have the headache. And maybe that's just me, but I don't get the headache from ales like I do from lagers. Don't know what that is.
You know, this was just to, let you know some stuff, maybe educate you a little bit. But yeah, like I said in a previous video, we got, you know, a new line coming on the channel. Bunch of events still coming. You know, and just a lot of, hopefully, excellent beers. Maybe some wish list checkoffs coming. If you have, you know, stuff you want to send, you know, rather it be suggestions, stories, or beer, we'll take all three. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel.
And as distilling becomes more popular, I'm sure we'll explore some of that too.
Yep.
Three Floyds.
Dogfish Head.
Oh my God. It's going to be a good year. It's going to be a good couple of years. We'll see what the next trend is.
Maybe we can also get a brewing video out, hopefully pretty soon too.
I think so.
2DG.
Hey, see ya. Thanks for watching.